Welcome to Village Talk Podcast with hosts Cortland Jones and Shauna Felton King. Village Talk highlights the views and voices of the community. And now your hosts, Cortland Jones and Shauna Felton King.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome. I am so excited. This is Village Talk, where we highlight the voices and views of the community. And we have a great panel of women who are going to join us to talk about this great subject of motherhood, celebrating Mother's Day and mothers. Also, this is our 1-year anniversary, and we wanted to really take the opportunity to celebrate some great women. And also joining with me is my co-host, Shauna. Shauna, say hello to everybody.
Hey, good afternoon. Happy Mother's Day to everyone. We are just excited to have you with us on this Mother's Day. So we definitely want to wish all of the mothers, spiritual mothers, who have served and are helping to raise our next generation. We want to just acknowledge you today. And so our show is really all about celebrating you. So yeah, I'm excited to be here too, Cortland. And happy anniversary, right?
Yes, happy anniversary. And look, we have a great panel of women, and I want to just get right into the discussion of this topic of motherhood, which Shauna also will be joining, as she is a mother of two. And so as we pose the question, feel free, panelists, to introduce yourself, and then you can answer the question. But the first question that we want to put out there is, what's one thing that you wish you knew before you had children?
Hi, guys. Thank you for having us on this afternoon. My name is Dana Blair, and I'm the mom of 3 wonderful boys, ages 25, 22, and 18. Been an educator for 33 years, and the one thing that I wish I'd known was not to take it so seriously. I mean, motherhood is a serious thing, but not to be so rigid and, oh, this new book said this thing, but just to rely back on, good common sense. When we first have kids, the very first one, we are boiling water. The bottles are, you're boiling them in the water like the book says and hanging them up. And then the second one, you go, wait a minute, the dishwasher has hot water. It'll sterilize these bottles. By that third one, the sink has hot water and I can wash these bottles and keep it moving. And all 3 of them turned out just fine. The bottles were clean enough for them to drink out of.
Nobody died. Everybody was good, right?
Everybody survived.
Thank you, Dana.
Yeah.
Anybody else? What's the lessons that you wish you'd known before?
Good morning, everyone. Happy Mother's Day. My name is Sharonda Ellegood. I am a mother of 3. I have a bonus son, 13. I have a 6-year-old and an 11-month-old. I'm also the younger sister of Shauna King as well. One thing that I really wish that I knew before I had children was this notion of thinking that patience comes with the baby. I realized quickly on that was not true. I consider myself someone who's constantly working on my patience. So for some reason, I think the first time my daughter kind of just had like a kind of crying fit or what have you, I realized that this was going to be something I was going to have to work on because, if you're not calm, the baby's not calm. So there's definitely things that you have to work on. Everything does not just come naturally with motherhood.
So true. So true. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Mother's Day to all. My name is Monica Fortune. I am the mother of 3 children, one 21-year-old, an 18-year-old, and a 13-year-old that connects Shauna and I. Our girls are very good friends and have been since kindergarten. I'm going to echo what Dana shared. It's not all about what we read in the book, because I know with my son, I've read the books. I wanted to make sure that I had it all down. When I realized we were having a boy, I just assumed that he was going to be a certain way. He was going to be a very active little boy. I started looking into schools, actually got him into a Montessori school. He turned out to be the most laid back kid ever. He's still that way. However, my daughter, who came right behind him, was totally opposite. She was the more active, active one. And so it's not all about, what we read and what we assume. We can't put them in this box, and we just have to let them be who God created them to be.
No, I think that's great. And I really appreciate hearing you as mothers share. Thank you, Monica, for what you just shared. Thank you also, Dana and Sharonda. This leads me to my next question because I know most of our panel uh, has multiple children. So, what is a tip or strategy for parenting multiple children?
Hi, this is Simms. I am a mom of three. I have a son who is 13, a daughter who is 6, and I have a 7-month-old. I think what I've learned the most is that you have to make individualized time for them. Being in an entire group, it feels like you always have to compromise and everyone has to agree. But when you set aside that individualized time, it gives them the opportunity to just focus on their relationship that they're building with you. So where you want to go to eat, also find that you have better conversations. I recently had a mommy and son date with my son. We were able to go to lunch, shop, and I felt like he opened up a lot more versus when we're in the entire family unit.
Hello, guys. This is Dana. I'm a proud mom of 4 beautiful children. I have a 30-year-old, a 29-year-old, a 28-year-old, and a set of twins. For me, because I had 2 older children, and then my twins came along, one of the things that we had to do was making sure that we included our older children in purchasing things for the twins and talking to them about where children came from. And just really making them feel comfortable with these new children that were coming into the home. And I can remember a story of my son wanting to come into the room, and my husband told him that he couldn't come in because I was nursing the twins. And he says, "Oh, mommy has udders like a cow." And we thought that was so funny. And so my husband had to have those conversations with him as well about nursing and all of that. So just really just including them and buying books to get them to understand the whole dynamics of being a big sister and a big brother and just a family.
That is awesome. And the fact that he could even make the connection between a cow and udders, that just shows his level of aptitude and intelligence. That's a great story. So my next question for the panel, how do you find the balance between taking care of children and self-care since most of you have multiple children?
Yes, that's one that took me a very long time to get. I think I got it more recently during the pandemic time. I had to learn to love myself. I had to learn to enjoy my own company and also learning to say no, being okay with saying no. We can't do everything. We can't be everything. And if we're not taking care of ourselves, we're not taking care of our families. And it just took me, I feel like, way too long to actually get that. Sometimes I think back and, maybe snapping back and not realizing, what's going on. It may not have anything to do with what my kids or my family did, but just the lack of, taking time for myself. And so during this pandemic time, with everything that's been going on, the social injustice and just the gray cloud that's been following us this pandemic, I had to get out and just take my time. And one of the things that I would do is just get out and walk. I needed to see some new scenery. I needed to get outside these 4 walls. And we were used to going on vacation, feeling frustrated, that we couldn't go anywhere. But what I realized is that there was so much beauty that surrounded me just by walking through my neighborhood. I was able to appreciate what was right under my nose that I hadn't appreciated all this time because I was always too busy, in the hustle and bustle. And as a result, I've actually created a faith-based inspirational clothing brand called Walking Gear that just shares, walk in love, walk in faith, walk in power, and walk in peace. And it's just been a process of walking and renewing my mind that's really helped me personally to just claim my time. And I'm so much better to my family, and I'm sure they can attest to that.
That's wonderful, and we'll make sure that we drop the link to the Walking Gear shop in the chat. I'm curious though, does it ever feel selfish? Because there's something that says a mother's supposed to give and give and give. As we talk about self-care, and anybody want to jump in? Does it feel selfish, or do you ever feel guilty about finding that time just for yourself?
No, because one of the things I say is you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yes.
So if you don't take care of yourself, then you can't give to your kids. But I also think when it comes to self-care, we have to recognize, everybody has to recognize that it doesn't look the same for everybody.
Correct.
I have friends who are always, you're doing too much for your kids. You're always with your kids. Come out with us. Well, I'm not a hanging out kind of person. Mm-hmm. So as long as I have a book, I'm good. So you can find me at a basketball game, football game, baseball. I'm going to have a book in my hand, and I am just as happy and just as content. When we were in Florida at a baseball tournament, and a parent from Maryland recognized me from across because they said, I don't know anybody else who would be at a baseball field with a book but you. So I knew that had to be you. But that's my happy place, is to read. And I can do that no matter where I am.
Yes.
That is funny. That is really funny. Now, in sharing that, what comes to my mind, two things. Parenting during a pandemic. I heard Monica kind of touch on that. And then we have a parent who has twins. So this is a unique parenting situation. So I would love to hear from the panel as it relates to what was it like having to parent during a pandemic. And then at the same time, when time is allowed, Dana, we'd love to hear you talk about what it's like to raise twins. And just by the way, I want everybody to know we have two Danas on our panel. We have Dana Miller and we have Dana Blair. So when you hear us say Dana, it's because we have two moms with us who are named Dana. So who would like to tackle that first question of what was it like to parent during the pandemic?
This is Jay. To be honest, I really enjoyed it. I feel like before, just like being in corporate America, it's like you have to be to work by 8, you're up at 6 or out the house, and you're rushing to put the shoes on, then you're commuting back home, and then you're trying to get the kids and cook. So I've honestly really enjoyed my time with my children. I love us coming downstairs. We don't have to go anywhere. We cook. We all bring our laptops to the kitchen table. My son, he hates to have his Zoom camera on during school. So he's always covering his camera. And then he catches me doing the same thing during my work meetings. And we laugh about it. Or we both will have a dress shirt on and pajama pants during Zoom meetings. So it's been a really great bonding time for us. But at the same time, making sure that I do have that balance. So when my husband gets home, making sure that I'm going out, I'm getting air, walking, because it can definitely be a lot day in and day out.
Yeah. And this virtual, when you have children who are in virtual school, as you're saying, that's the special role there of, when they're a child young, you have to kind of help them out and stuff like that with this which is something, as parents, we hadn't done before. So Sharonda, what about you? How has it been parenting during the pandemic?
Well, I definitely want to echo what was just said. It's definitely been nice not having to commute back and forth. I work downtown, so that's dropping the kid off at school, hopping on the train. I don't miss that at all. I love just kind of waking up and going down to my kitchen. On the other side of it, I realized